What up, football fans all over the world? It's your boy Mac the Giants fan here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Costas. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for that real deal NFC East round up. Punch that intro. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. I am Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy, Adam Costas, man. How you feeling today, Adam?
Well, outside of the technical difficulties starting the show and getting things together, I'm good, but mad. Good because, we still have the football. Mad because there's only 2 weeks left. And very, very mad because our team is a complete and utter dumpster fire. So, outside of that,
no better way to put it, man. Like I've never been so anxious to get to the off season, man. I can't even remember. So I've been just ready to get to the off season.
It's worse than last year. It's worse than last
year. It's bad. I mean, we only have 2 wins right now, bro. 2. Sitting 2-12.
Yeah, last year we were
number one overall pick in the draft. Terrible right now. This is terrible.
We'll get into it, folks, but you gotta give me and Mac some credit for slogging the team for 17 weeks of absolute shit. Okay, and we'll get into it. This show.
It's even, to me, I feel like we're really getting the extra whammy. I feel like this season, because to me, the NFC East as a whole, to me, is like just not very compelling, and I mean at all. It's just been we're just going almost like we're going to have to go through the motions, man. Thank God we love football, I guess, man. But it's been rough, man. Well, it's just been rough all across the board, but especially with the Giants thing.
The NFL has been a different animal this year. Teams we thought would be bad are good. Teams that we thought were good are bad. Kansas City's fucking up.
Out of it. Leave it out of it.
Right. So, I mean, like, the NFC East had mad representatives a few years ago in the playoffs. We're going to have one, if that. Like, and I'll call it a half of one because the Eagles are, obviously we'll talk about them, but they obviously did their job. So it's just been a rough year. And I'm, like I said, I'm waiting. I can't believe there's 2 games left. And in a few years, there's going to be 3 games left at this time because they're going to go to the 18-game format at some point here in the near future. But we'll see.
It's 3 games left right now. It's still you mean we'll count after this week?
Right. I'm assuming that we're into this week, right?
Yeah, now. I got you. I just thought about that. Yeah.
Right. Technically, we have 3 games left on the schedule, but I'm already looking at it like I'm staring Sunday down already, and then the holidays are happening, so that's the next week and a half is going to blow by like a blur. And then
I just wanted to end. Put us out of our misery already, man.
Oh,
like this has been terrible. Nothing is good. Like it's just
it's hard to talk about all these teams. All these teams have real flaws. I mean, even the Eagles, who I guess let's get into them since
let's just go right to it. The Eagles, man. Let's start with the champs, man. Looks like for the first time in about 20 years, we're gonna have back-to-back division champs in the NFC East. It looks like that's gonna happen for the first time since the last time the Eagles since the last time the Eagles accomplished that goal back in 2004 and 5, I think it was.
I think it was their
5 and 6 or whatever it was.
Run in 2000, the McNabb vomiting game where they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But it started. The Eagles. They hosted the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders ran out Eagles' former backup quarterback Kenny Pickett. Man, to start the show, man, it was an absolute mess. Was no better than what they got from Geno Smith all season long, and so that upgraded nothing, gave no spark whatsoever. As a matter of fact, it actually got worse. It was a terrible day for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Eagles went out there. We talked about it on the show last week, Adam. Actually, me and you both, we spoke about this. The Eagles need to go out there, not only win, but somewhat make a statement against a team that's beneath them, to be quite frank. And that's quite frankly, they did. They went out there and they clearly bust that ass to the tune of 31-0. So what you got from this game?
I was thinking about you personally in on Sunday, because we mentioned the beatdown that needed to take place. This couldn't have been. We you don't get style points for wins, right? But in order for us to believe that the Eagles were going to possibly do anything in the playoffs, right, or have anything of not wavering, they needed to do what they did on Sunday, and that was absolutely obliterate a team that should not be on the field with them. And, it was an impressive victory. They shut a team out. Their defense was absolutely lights out. Jalen Phillips having a great game. Brandon Graham getting lathered up. The whole team over there looked like the Eagles that could defend. Now, do I trust them? Let me see that shit against the Bills, okay? In 2 weeks when they play, right? Washington, I'm not even going to give you that. This game should be kind of similar to what you did to the Raiders, right? You should be able to blow that team out. If they have any trouble going forward, this team could be in trouble. Now, the thing that's interesting is, I don't know if you've been watching Hard Knocks. I have been following it because it is the NFC East, and it is kind of intriguing. Lane Johnson is working his way back onto the field. He's rehabbing his Liv Frank injury, as you guys know, and he's looking like he may possibly make a return for the playoffs. So they've killed their chances of being the number one seed, with these losses, and you can't even say that the losses that they've had were, great. They were absolutely atrocious, these losses against these better teams and these better defenses. So while I want to give them props, like we said last week, to beating this team, I need to see them do it against Buffalo, because that to me will tell me, okay, maybe they're just hitting a spell, and Nick Sirianni in Hard Knocks is really helping the team, right? He is really a coach that people can get behind. They believe in him. They buy into what he's selling. They like his personality. The team is motivated. You can tell by how they interact with him. So we'll see if this catapults them in. Again, they have a nice opponent. Can they get to double-digit wins under Nick Sirianni? This would be the fourth year in a row they have 10-plus wins. I mean, regardless of how the Eagles look, somehow they get to 10 wins. And if we look at it in the grand scheme of things, because honestly, folks, the Raiders didn't do anything. Kenny Pickett looks awful. Okay, he was awful in this game. He's been awful most of his career. I'm sorry that I even touted that guy at some point, but he's just awful. And I don't know where the Raiders are going to go from here. They're in disarray. There's possibility they're going to fire their coach, who they just brought in this year. They fired their offensive coordinator. Their defensive players are fighting with each other. Max Crosby and Desmond White, or the guy who used to play for Tampa Bay back in the day. They're fighting on the field and not making gap assignments and things. So just a lot of junk. So this is a team they needed to do this against, and they did. So, again, and you're watching Hard Knocks, you're believing in the message. They haven't given up on each other. You can still see that they are playing for each other. So I want to know if this is going to be 2023 again, because against a team like the Raiders, it sucks you back in. And then basically, let's say they're playing Washington. I'm not going to get it too detailed into it, but because we want to save that for the end of the show. But against Washington, they're probably going to pull you back in again, right? And then what happens when they play Buffalo? Is that the game that's going to really say, okay, this is where the Eagles are going to be? Because that AFC side, that is fucking stacked over there, okay? It is stacked on that AFC side. And my Super Bowl pick, which I thought was going to be Pittsburgh at the beginning of the year, I'm starting to flirt with the Houston Texans, because their defense is absolutely, absolutely lights out. Great. So that AFC side is stacked. The NFC side, it's also stacked in the NFC West. We might be seeing a representative come out of the NFC West. I don't want to travel to San Francisco. I don't want to travel to Seattle. And I definitely don't want to travel to LA. So, the Eagles have their work cut out for them to really do that. And because they lost ground, it's going to be a tough road if they can't get out of the first round, because even if they're going to meet a team that's going to be a solid team. Okay. The only team bad in the NFC playoff picture is going to be the one that comes out of the South. Probably 10-7, 9-8. You're probably going to have a better record than that team that you're going to go face, right? So, it is one of those things where the Eagles, well, obviously the Eagles will host a home game because they'll be a division opponent, but one of these teams that's going to come in behind them is going to be good. Green Bay is good. They've already played Chicago, right? So, and Chicago knows they can beat the Eagles. Green Bay is looking for that possible revenge, if they're not already the division winner. And then, you got Detroit who's sneaking around there. And I'm sure that there's one more team I'm missing. I do believe, the 49ers, right? The 49ers and or Seattle. So, you've got big opponents coming to your building. Can you hold up when it's going to matter most? And that's what I need to find out from the Eagles. So, good win for them on Sunday. I've talked enough about the Eagles. I'll give you back the mic. But
yeah,
for the Eagles.
I'm sorry.
Well, sorry, a good win for the Eagles. Let's see what they can do against good opponents. Mac, it's back to you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is just to me what I call this game was just called a systematic decimation of an inferior opponent. The Eagles don't necessarily have gaudy numbers when you look down the stat sheet of this game, but it was all efficient. Just efficient, and they were pretty much able to do whatever they wanted to do. So it didn't take a lot of big plays and crazy spectacular shit. Jalen Hurts 12 or 15, very efficient with just 175 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Saquon Barkley 22 carries, only just a mere 78 yards and but it's just enough. It was just like I said, just the efficiency of what they did, and the defensively. Let me talk about a guy, the Eagles, we haven't been talking about much the last couple of weeks since he's returned, because he was injured at the start of the year. Came back in, and since he's come back, it's just every week I see him making more and more and more plays for this Eagle defense. And that's one missing to Kobe Dean, man.
Yes,
this
sir.
guy flies all over the field, man. This guy is just making plays. He's making an impact on his defense. And I think not enough people are talking about what he provides, that spark and energy he's provided to this defense since he's returned. Old man Brandon Graham, fresh off of retirement. This man got back off out of retirement, came in 2-sack day, man, for Brandon Graham, man. Like just the fortitude of some of these guys is his talent, and the fortitude of this Philadelphia Eagle team. That's what it's really all about. I think right now it's tough to really still gauge, because this is what you're supposed to do against a team like the Raiders.
Right.
And we do want to see them, like you said, same thing. Like, it's going to be interesting against Buffalo in a couple of weeks, man, with this team, because that's a huge step up in class, and that's what you got to be able to compete against the squads like that. That's what this Eagles team's going to need to be able to do, man. But like I said, what they did, they smothered the Raiders in every aspect of this football game. Kenny Pickett, man. I don't know if I've seen a stat line for like this of a quarterback that played 4 quarters of a game. 15 of 25 for 64 yards. No touchdowns and an interception. I mean, that's Kenny Pickett's stat line.
That's terrible. But see, Mac, this is what you want from a defense, like you said, right? You were talking about Nakobe Dean, who, by the way, you and I mentioned weeks ago when he came back, and I think the reason he's gotten suppressed was because of Jahad Campbell coming in, and everyone thought, Jahad Campbell's going to take over. Plus, he was injured. But that move from moving Nakobe Dean, well, technically Zach Bond, back to weak side linebacker and putting Nakobe Dean back in, has basically been the reason this defense has turned it around. I mean, injuries, yes, and Jalen Phillips has been good, and Brandon Graham, like you mentioned, but Zach Bond was playing out of position. They couldn't hold anybody. They couldn't do anything to anybody, right? Teams were going up and down the field. They did that one switch, and he's come back with his hair on fire. Like, he's come back with his hair on fire. And I said a few weeks ago that they might have gotten 2 additions by one move, because, like I said, Zach Bond is now playing a better game where he's naturally a fit at weak side linebacker, where he can cover the tight ends and do all that things and roam around, where he couldn't do that necessarily in the middle of the defense. So I think
I had an INT on Sunday, as a matter of fact.
So there, exactly, where he didn't have that autonomy to do that when Nakobe Dean wasn't here. And let's give Dean credit for coming back off those injuries. Last year, I think he got injured in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, on their march to the Super Bowl. And he could be the difference maker, right? This defense could be an X factor if the offense struggles. right? Remember in 2020, in 2023, their defense was bad. Their offense was not good either. Their defense wasn't the defense it is now, right? They were still kind of run by Vic Fangio and they had kind of concepts like that, but they weren't the same stifling defense that they were this year. If this defense can do that thing and they get Jalen Carter back and they get, a couple of these DBs back and they still keep playing, because we don't talk about their DBs and Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and those guys, but their defense is complete. And if they can keep up with some of these teams like Seattle, who I'm not a fan of Sam Darnold in big games, he scares me, or a team like the 49ers who might come in and play you. I mean, let's look at the standings right now, just so we can get a kind of a picture right now of the NFL standings.
NFC is pretty loaded, man. The NFC is actually pretty loaded right now.
I do believe Seattle would be going to.
I think Seattle right now would have a wild card spot. Right now, they have one of the wild card spots.
Okay, so they probably would be out of the 49ers, because you got to think that it's going to be the 49ers, the Packers, and Seattle are going to be the three wild card teams, right? Packers.
No. I mean, it could be 49. I mean, the Bears are still in there too, man.
I'm not counting them because the reason I didn't count the Bears yet, because they're technically the division leaders right now: the Eagles, the Bears,
that's right, I forgot.
The Buccaneers, and the Rams. So those four teams I'm giving in, right? So Seattle has 11 freaking wins already. Okay, so they're wild card 5, right? 49ers have 10 wins. They're wild card 6, and then let's put the Packers in at 9-4. That's 7 wins. That they have 9 wins right now to the Packers, and that could flip between the Packers and the Bears depending on who wins and how it wins out. Let's just put the Bears in. So you're talking about 3 teams right now that are going to be wild card teams with 11 wins, 10 wins, 9 wins, and there's still some games to go in the year. So that means on wild card weekend, you're going to have the top seeded at the moment, the top seeded Rams on a bye. Then you'd have the Bears as probably the 2 seed, and then you'd have the 3 seed would be the Eagles, right? And then the 4 seed would be the Buccaneers, right? So you got those 4 teams. So if you look at it, then it would be 2 plays the lowest number. So 2 would play 7. So at this point, it would probably be the Bears against the Packers at the moment, which is crazy to think.
Which is we got that on Saturday, so that's just gonna we get that Saturday afternoon, folks.
Right. So right now at the moment they would play a 3rd time, right? And then the Buccaneers would play the 5th seed, the 6th seed, I do believe. No, the 5th seed. I think I'm getting them all wrong. But either way,
hold on. Well, right now the Bears will play. The Bears will play the Packers. Yeah, you're right. The Bears play the Packers. The Eagles will play the 49ers, and the Bucks will play Seattle.
Okay. So now that we cleared that up, right? You got a 49er team coming in who right now is surging, right? And it's going to be a formidable out. So this is what we're talking about is defenses like this. Their defense needs to keep them in some of these games, because we're not talking about playing the Buccaneers, the 9-8 Bucks, right? We're not talking about playing like a lowly 9-8 Viking team or something like that. That's JJ McCarthy. You're going to be playing teams that are all legit contenders, which I didn't believe the 49ers were, but they're legit contender for the Super Bowl. You have to kind of give them that, right? Them, Seattle, and the Rams, and not to mention probably the Bears and the Packers. That's how good these teams have been. So to put a bow on it, the defense has got to do better. The defense is going to be I believe, the team that keeps the Eagles in this playoff hunt if they go past the first round.
What's going on, no Mets too, man? Happy holidays to you, bro. Appreciate you. But yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's going to be the Eagles having it. They're going to have to, I think, still clean some things up and figure it out. But like I said, we'll see how they come out and look this week as well. Keep an eye on them, because once again, they're playing against what I consider an inferior opponent, even though it's a divisional opponent. But that does make it a little bit more dangerous. But I still an inferior opponent nonetheless. We'll talk a little bit more about it, like you said, later on. Unless you got any more final thoughts for the Eagles, we can get ready to talk about a team that absolutely squandered a big opportunity this past weekend. We could
talk about the choke artists.
Let's talk about it. Let's get to Dallas, man, and talk about these Dallas Cowboys and the way they absolutely squandered a victory on Sunday night. I mean, opportunity was right there in their hand to stay, right there, right behind the Eagles, man. And they're not mathematically out of it, but let's face it, I think now they might be a little too much and too much of a hole at this point. The only chance the Cowboys would have, and there's no chance in a wild card for the Dallas Cowboys, is
Not
where their record is sitting at. Their only chance is to catch the Eagles and win the division. And I think that the loss Sunday night is probably going to be a little too much for them to overcome, but let's talk about the Cowboys and Vikings Sunday night, Adam.
you know, the fucking Cowboys always let me down. Okay. I hate you Cowboy fans who try to get me all hyped up for this team, right? You're sitting there. I'm actually picking prosperity for you guys. You're playing teams that you should possibly beat. There's no way the Vikings, who've had a, up and down roller coaster of a season, should have come in there and did what they did to you. Right. And they made you guys, with all this vaunted defense, you made JJ McCarthy, who hadn't played at all in weeks, you made him look like, the first round pick that he's supposed to be. They were talking about possibly getting a new quarterback and benching this guy, and he's not the one. And he comes in and does a gritty on your field. Okay. A place that is supposed to be a place where the Cowboys win, right? They averaged 30 points a game in Dallas, Texas, which they still did score 30, damn near close to 30 points, but that wasn't enough. They kicked field goals and they needed touchdowns. They had some drops go their way. At one point they were leading in the game, right? They were leading in the game, and instead of getting a touchdown, I mean, no one thinks about this, right? But Brandon Aubrey misses 2 field goals. Does that change much? No, their score goes from 26 to 32, which means they're only 2 points down. But who knows? Who knows what they could have done, right? If they get those 2 field goals, who knows what would have been? Now, if you put those 2 field goals in at the time that they were leading, that's a different strategy. Maybe your pass rush comes in and kicks in because now J.J. McCarthy has to throw the ball even more than he's already doing. But you couldn't stop him regardless. But my point is those 2 kicks come back to bite you, a guy that's pretty much automatic. And when you don't have that extra, that guy being automatic, 32 points, but you scored 26. So you think you should be in a good position to win. You gave up 34 to, again, a guy who hasn't played in a while, who they want to run out of town. The offense has struggled. You've gotten, Kenny Clark, Kenyon Williams, you got Overshown back. Your defense is basically almost healthy, and yet somehow you gave up 34 points to the Vikings, who, let's face it, have started to come alive these last couple games. But this is a game that you thought, okay, you lost to Detroit. We'll give you the loss to Detroit, a team that's hungry, still in the playoff mix. This is the team I thought you would come out. So you know what, Cowboys, you deserve everything that you get. Okay, you deserve this loss because it's on you for not being able to stop this team and being able to put yourself. I would trade places if I were you with Minnesota. I would rather be Minnesota right now because that team right now is playing at a level where they would be scary to make it in the postseason. They're not going to. They've been mathematically eliminated. But if you were to put them, let's say, in our division right now, they would probably catch the Eagles because they understand the moment that's in front of them.
Yeah, I can agree with a lot of what you just said there, but it's thing with this Cowboys team here. This game was a tale of 2 halves. I mean, like going to the locker room all knotted up at 17, and you come out in the second half and you're just unable to put the ball in the end zone at all. You're just not able to punch it in. I mean, looking statistically, the Cowboys overall, it looks like offensively they were pretty. It looks. Just looking at it, it seems they were pretty efficient. I mean, you nearly had a 100-yard rusher in Javonte Williams. Dak Prescott, nearly 300 yards. I mean, he didn't throw any touchdown passes, but nearly. I mean, and then CeeDee Lamb with a big night, 6 catches, 111 yards. It's like usually that's a recipe for success for the Dallas Cowboys. You see numbers like that, but just not getting it done defensively, man. Just not able to get the job done. I mean, the fact that they weren't able to get JJ McCarthy not one time, man, not get him on the ground not once. You got to be able to. you gotta do something. You gotta be able to speed his clock up in his head, man. Everything was just too easy for JJ McCarthy. 15 to 24, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns passes, and he ran and then he ran one in, like you talked about, ran one in and hit the gritty on in y'all end zone, man. Like that's just disrespect. You know what I mean of that? Like, and that's just like he looked, like you said, Adam said, he looked like the first round quarterback that he was when people were starting to kind of begin to slowly write him off a little bit, and start, teetering him on the bus line a little bit. But then he comes out and has a game like this on prime time against a team that desperately needed the victory.
Right.
And it's just disappointing if you're a Cowboy fan. I feel like, just because this is not the effort you expected to see on Sunday night. I mean, 3 field goals in the second half of this is the difference. Is the reason why you lost. Minnesota came out. They matched their 17 from the first half with another 17 in the second half. You come out, all you can do is put up 9 points, 3 field goals, man. That's just not going to get it done, man. You just need more of an effort. Need more of an effort than that. And the fact that you did this, and something I mentioned last week on the show, was I said I thought Minnesota's real chance of winning, the reason they were going to win this game was because I thought Justin Jefferson was going to come back to life. This was going to be the week that he come back to life, but no. It's still been the same, abysmal numbers that he's had over the course of the last. I mean, Justin Jefferson only had 2 catches for 22 yards in this game. I mean, not a factor at all, not a non-factor, and yet you're still not able to take care of business against the Minnesota Vikings because you let JJ McCarthy, you let him get comfortable, and that was it. He picked you apart, picked the Cowboy defense apart, man. Hats off to the Minnesota Vikings.
Where do they go from here? I mean, like, where do they go? Because you said they had a slim chance to make the playoffs. I don't think they're making the playoffs at all. All right. I think they're dead. Their season died.
Well, I don't think they're making it. I just mean they're not mathematically out because they can technically catch the Eagles.
Outside of them, I don't think they're winning out, right? I don't think they're beating the friggin' Chargers this week. Okay. You can't convince me of that. And, whatever week they play the Chargers, I think it's this week, right? And then, we'll talk about who they play. But the point is, even if they win out, they don't deserve to be in the fucking playoffs because they just don't have it on defense. I don't know what's wrong with Eberflus. I don't know if it's the personnel. I don't know if it's them not buying into the system, because this guy had good defenses before he was the coach at Chicago. In Chicago, the defenses were pretty solid when he was there. And now he comes to Dallas and you give him talent, and all of a sudden these guys don't know what they did. They surged against teams that were inferior to them, but you thought the Vikings coming in, this was a game that they could have exploited them, right? Exploited the Vikings a little bit and said, hey, you know what? But, and for all that vaunted, you got to give credit to the Vikings defense, okay, for keeping them out of the end zone. Even though they put up 26, the Cowboys scored 30 points at home like it's their job. So to keep them under that, I would say that's a win for the defense. Right. And then for them to score 35 points or 34 points, I would say is incredible because, again, I had more faith than Eberflus. I think you're going to have to fire him at the end of the year. I don't know what to do. I mean, you would think they had Dan Quinn where the defense was pretty solid. Right. If you had Dan Quinn right now, this Cowboy team is probably in a different place because their defenses weren't terrible under Dan Quinn. They've been absolutely god-awful the last 2 years under Mike Zimmer and Eberflus. Right. And I think they're gonna definitely have to retool on defense next year. Probably bring in another defensive coordinator who I have no idea. I have no idea who you're gonna bring in. Maybe they'll bring in Shane Bowen. I'm just kidding, folks. Just kidding. But who knows who they're gonna pick? They're gonna need to bring in a guy who's good. I think offensively, I think Schottenheimer's not bad. I don't know if he's a good head coach. We'll find that out. I like his energy on Hard Knocks. He is trying. The guys do like him. Coming off of that, when you're watching that show, you can really see the body language and how they, talk to him. I do believe, though, some of the things that I saw concern me. Their practices weren't as sharp. Even Schottenheimer said, "We got to do better." And I think the Cowboys started to feel themselves a little bit. And I think they took that home record a little too much, like, we're going to beat this team, and they haven't arrived just yet. They don't have how should I put it? They don't have the history to overlook teams and take teams for granted or lightly. And that would be funny if they signed Wink Martindale. That would be hysterical.
It's funny because I've actually heard some rumors about Winks and being maybe connected to the Jets, possibly. You know, their defensive coordinator job is now wide open and available. So
that wouldn't be. I mean, that would be. I think Wink Martindale got the raw deal here, but I think the Cowboys are in need of that. They need to be aggressive because their offensive. If their defense could play half as good as their talent, we would be talking about them fighting for the division and in the wild card race. Right now, we're like, slim. They just look like the Cowboys from last year. Just take away Mike McCarthy, right? Who, by the way, who knows? Maybe he has that team at 10 to 12 wins, right? Schottenheimer is going to fall short of that. So, did they really upgrade their team with getting rid of McCarthy and not giving him that? If they gave McCarthy Eberflus, if he took Eberflus, is it a different dynamic? Is it a different coach team? Like, that's what you got to ask yourself, because right now they are scoring points, but there are some things that I'm seeing out of Schottenheimer's offense where when they got to have it, they're not getting it. And I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the offense, but I'm not trying to take away what he's done, but I also don't want to anoint him like, oh, you're the next coach, because games like this are games that need to matter and need to find a way to win and, get your guys motivated. And I don't know if he's that. I think he's good for the team. Like, oh, we like him more than McCarthy, but do we really like him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, in this game, like I said, this past week, they just never had in the second half. They just never had an answer for anything, man. They just couldn't put it together. In the second half of this game, it just completely got away from them. And like I said, an opportunity was squandered because you had an Eagle team that if you could have really kept that pressure on them, who knows, man? No pressure bust pipes, man. And maybe who knows what could have happened if you really. But I think now you may put them more in a more relaxed state, feeling like they can just go ahead and coast the rest of the way. And still go ahead and hang on and win this division at this point. Because like I said, it's the only chance the Cowboys got. And if they go out there and lay an egg this week against the Chargers, which that's a game where most likely you kind of think you don't necessarily expect them to win anyway. That's a game they are going to be kind of the underdogs in going into this game. You would like to think, even though they're at home. So it's they put themselves in a tough situation, man. I mean, it's in a really bad spot. And this is a game against Minnesota that they probably they should have been able to find a way to beat the Vikings. And the fact that they screwed it up, that's just what the Cowboys do, man. Home for the holidays, once again, with the rest of the NFC East division, Dallas. And I really just don't feel bad about it. I just don't care. I just don't. Don't care about y'all feelings. I got my own problems as a Giants fan. Can't worry about Cowboy problems. But speaking of the Giants, man, I don't know if you got any more you want to talk about with the Cowboys, or do you want to talk about what we saw Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock?
Get into Sunday afternoon, not bury the lead anymore. I know these folks come here to hear us rant about these hapless team that plays in New York.
Because, Sunday afternoon was terrible. I mean, like, people coming into this game with a lot of confidence, thinking like, yeah, we're going to be able to beat Washington. You're right. You should have been able to beat Washington. But in the true form of the way of the New York Giants, no one knows how to lose like the New York Giants. They are professional losers. Adam, speak on it, man.
What is there to speak on besides this team stinks? How the hell do you get blown out by the damn Washington Commanders? I don't care about the stupid score and Washington trying to give you the game in the last 5 minutes. You got the doors blown off, okay? It wasn't really much of a contest. And it's sad because I picked this team thinking that maybe they had a chance to beat Washington and Mike the Dork Kafka would have these boys ready to go. Well, guess what? He didn't. He didn't have them ready to go. Special teams still sucks. How come that guy's not fired? You fired everybody else. How come that guy's not fired? The kicking situation's horrible. The fucking return game is fucking horrible. Yet this guy still has a fucking job. And who do you fire? You fire Brian Cox. Oh, the fucking plane. Blah, blah, blah. Give me a break. Give me a damn break. This
They
team
cut Young Wei Koo.
Exactly. Good. They cut Young Wei too a little too fucking late. He should have been cut and left in New England for freaking sticking his foot in the ground. We've had 3 different kickers, a punter who's now injured. Now we have more punters and kickers on the team than we've had all year. We've got like this guy Sal. Now we have Gillian and another punter. We just put Koo and let him go. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm great accountability, Mike Kafka. You should be fired for your fucking play calling. You should be fired for anointing a defensive coordinator who's never been a defensive coordinator in his life to a defensive coordinator. The defense can't stop anybody. How do you give up 29 points to the Commanders?
So bad.
They scored 0 the week before. They couldn't get out of their way the week before. You gave up fucking 29 to Marcus Mariota, who has a propensity to give you plays back, which he did in the fucking 5 minutes of the game. What does Marcus Mariota do? What Marcus Mariota does best, give you a fucking turnover in a crucial moment of the game. And yet, we couldn't do anything. The Washington defense made more stops than us. It's insane to think about. They gave you the ball in plus territory a couple of times, and you couldn't punch it in. 4th and 3 on the 1. You run a fucking power to get our quarterback injured. What is happening? Then he goes out for 2 plays, and Jameis Winston, who comes in cold as hell, doesn't do anything either. And then you have Dart come back in the game, looks helter-skelter. The play looks tough. You're first talking to Jameis, then Jackson walks over and says, "I'm good to go, coach." And then you don't even what are we doing? Mike Kafka, you need to get the fuck out of here. You want to fucking fire people? Fire your own self for being a fucking loser, okay? With the rest of this fucking team. And don't get me started. Abdul Carter, great game. Great game, Abdul Carter.
Finally.
Done. What is it with Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter where you play great against Washington, against useless-ass teams? Where does Kayvon Thibodeau show up? Guess what? Washington. Where does Abdul Carter show up? Guess what? Washington. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Their offensive line was banged up, yet they still ran the ball for over 100 yards. Terry McLaurin, who's covering him? Who the fuck is covering Terry McLaurin? What are we doing? This is how bad they are. Go watch Hard Knocks. Dan Quinn's like, yeah, the quarterback's a runner, so why don't you fucking fuck him up? Guess what? How did he get fucked up in this game? You got sandwiched between 2 fucking defenders going for a 1-yard run because you don't have the personnel or the smarts to do anything. And the last guy I want to take this out on is Darius fucking Slayton. Okay? Get this guy off my team. I don't want to see him next year. Every week this guy has a drop. Every week in a crucial moment.
Yeah, 2 this week. 2 big ones this week.
2 against the Saints, a drop and a fumble against this team. When will it end? I don't need to see him anymore. You know what? I don't want to see him. I don't want to see Jalen Hyatt. Put in Gunnar Olszewski. Give me fucking Dalen Kembry. The guy on the back. Give me somebody else. You could have little fucking Jordan Humphreys on this team doing something. But no.
Jordan Humphreys scored a touchdown on Sunday for the Denver Broncos.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You can't make this shit up. He goes to a different team and scores a touchdown. You know how many touchdowns our receivers have? I don't even remember when he. Oh, let me guess. If I put it in the end zone and you dive, it falls out of your hands. Great. You run a fucking slant route and the ball falls out of your hands. Dart couldn't have walked the ball better to you. And then what's with Jalen Hyatt? If the guy stinks, why is he on the field?
Look, I saw a Jalen Hyatt stat today, a stat that involved Jalen Hyatt that was just really bothered me because it bothered me the fact that he's on this team still and that he still gets a uniform on Sundays. It's that the New York Giants quarterbacks this season have 9 interceptions. 3 of those interceptions. That is a third, folks, for anybody who's, a little not good with numbers. Third of the interceptions from New York Giants quarterbacks were passes thrown target to Jalen Hyatt. That they were targeted. Third of the interceptions on for the Giant quarterbacks. He's had some kind of and the one with Jameis Winston, that one in the end zone, that was completely a Jalen Hyatt brain fart or whatever the hell it was. And even on this one on Sunday, I mean, I still put it more on Dart because the pass wasn't a good pass. But at the end of the day, Jalen Hyatt, you did nothing to help the situation either. You just stood there and watched it happen. You just sat there and watched it happen. You didn't even attempt to break it up in any way, shape, or form. It's It's
Did you
I'm
watch Baldy's breakdown? Baldy's breakdown. Basically, he destroys Brian Baldinger, folks. If you don't know who Baldy is, on Twitter, he has Baldy's breakdown, and he's going over the play, and he absolutely torches Hyde. He's like, "What kind of route is this?" The guy rounds the route off, right? So already gives advantage to a corner. By the way, Baldy goes, "You have a slot corner playing outside, advantage receiver, right?" But he doesn't take advantage of it. He runs his lazy ass route where the linebacker takes Wan'Dale Robinson, who by the way is not that good. People, I'm just letting you know. Takes Wan'Dale Robinson. So
easy on Wan'Dale. Wan'Dale made a great touchdown catch on Sunday. Easy on Wan'Dale. That's my he just is what he is.
You can get your pom poms out for him, and he can get a garbage time touchdown for you. For me, the guy is a better version of Darius Slayton. He shows up and here and there, but when you need him in the moments, he's not. But good for him in his touchdown. But let's be real. How we got to get to the elephant in the room is Joe Shane, because Nomad said this. Why do we resign Darius Slayton? Why do we resign Darius Slayton if this is the production we're going to get? Why do we resign guys if this is the production we're going to get? And then I look at his free agency in Holland. Where is that guy? Like, what has he done? Adebo still, at some point, like now the guys are checked out. So you're not even getting good evaluations, right? You're half-assing thing. This is a mess. I don't even know if they can beat the Raiders, to be honest with you. That's how bad this team is. I don't even know if they can beat the Raiders, who are just as bad, if not worse. Washington is terrible. And they walked in and they dog walked in.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where we stand right now, but like you said, it's hard to follow everything you said up because I agree with everything you said. Darius Slayton, I'm so tired of watching you drop pass after pass after pass, bro. Like, and the thing is, you're not dropping difficult to catch passes. You're dropping shit that Jackson Dart is putting it right on you. Putting it right. I mean, that third down, come on, you gotta come up with that, man. Like, you can't throw a pass any better than that. You got to come up with that. And then in one in the end zone, like, he dropped it right in your hands. In your hands. Like, you can't make this shit up. You're like the dude on the what was that movie? The damn I can't even remember the brick hands though. They had I can't remember what that movie was called.
Where I had to put the
unnecessary roughness.
Replacements, where that guy was
was it the Replacements? Was that what it was? It was one of those movies, one of those Replacements.
The Sprite guy, Orlando Jones, was the receiver, couldn't catch nothing, right?
Oh yeah, Orlando Jones. That's what the Replacements with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it's just that's the vibe I get from Darius Slayton, bro. Like, you just because you make a catch like you did. What game was that? You made that big play on the sideline, that one-handed catch, spectacular one-handed catch.
Chicago.
You'll make that. Yeah, Chicago. You make that play, but then he puts it right in your hands where he couldn't hand the ball to you any better, and you drop that shit. And you're a captain. You're a leader. You're supposed to be a leader on this football team. And these are the results we get. Like I said, don't know why Jalen Hyde continues to get a uniform. It's despicable. It's another reason that further shows why this entire regime must go. Special teams, okay. Well, let's see. You punt the ball to the guy. He nearly breaks it right up the middle. Okay. So here we go. We punt it to him again. So we go out there and do the same damn thing. Give him the whole middle of the field. This time, takes to the house. Like you said, Adam, these are fireable offenses because these are things that could have been cleaned up. Like, this was a good staff would have said, would have saw that, said, he almost busted that open, man. We got to tighten that up for the next one. No, not the Giants. Not the Giants. Then you go out here, you finally cut Young Wei Koo. Honestly, he should have been cut already sooner anyway, but you cut him after he misses 2 50-plus yard field goals in the MetLife swirling wind. Now we're going to cut you. We're not going to cut you for planting your foot in the dirt on the turf against New England a couple weeks ago. That's okay. You can still hang on. We'll keep you for that. All the other dumb shits you've done, field goals missed and whatnot. No, we're going to cut you after you miss these 2 long ass field goals in these crazy conditions. Now we're going to cut you. Now that's the straw that broke the camel's back for the New York Giants. Like, look, this team is so laughable in all aspects, man. Jackson Dart, like I said, is the only thing that makes this watchable is at all for me on Sundays anymore. And that's just, and I'm only at this point watching to make sure he can maintain his health, to be quite frank, because I am tired of watching this kid take trips to the blue tent. I can't continue to keep watching that. With that being said, man, all that Mendoza talk, kill it, Skillet. We got Jackson Dart, man. And Jackson Dart has already proved that he can play at this level in the NFL. We don't know what Mendoza's going to do. Heisman Trophy or not, he's a great prospect, all that good stuff, man. But he ain't no guarantee. He ain't a guarantee at all. Jackson Dart is already money, baby. He's already doing things at this level. He understands what it takes to be an NFL quarterback, clearly.
I don't think
so.
Quarterback.
So I don't understand people that are all of a sudden ready to trade him in. Like, but Daniel Jones, he was okay to give him 6 years, right? But we want to trade Jackson Dart right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's go ahead and move off of Jackson Dart after this great rookie season, and to because we want to get the new Heisman Trophy winner and all. Come on, man, stop that. Let's take that draft capital. Let's build this team up the right way. Let Joe Shane have no parts of it whatsoever. Don't have him touch anything because he's a mess. And let's just see what it is here. What the hell is going on? I'm sorry. Something happened on my computer screen that just
same thing.
Threw me off. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like this is what the problem with the Giants are. Because if that was a move that gets made and we say, okay, you move off of Dart and you go and get Mendoza and he comes in and shits the fucking bed, then we're right back at square one. Right back at square one again. Like I said, it took a long time, but we finally look like we got a quarterback here. Now let's build the other pieces. All this craziness, because this for all I care, I can care if the Giants win another game this season now. They don't need to. They might as well just maintain that number 1 overall pick and go ahead and ride it out, man.
Wilson. Start Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's what I said. Start Russell Wilson and let it go. And then that way you can pretty much almost guarantee you're going to lose, even to the Raiders, because Russell Wilson is truly that bad.
So Mosley does bring up a point where he says have to consider the all options. And there's another comment I want to get to real quick. First, before I get to the quarterback comment, Slayton, I wouldn't say that he's a good player. He's an average player that is being forced into a role that he should not be in. Him and Wan'Dale Robinson should be your 3rd and 4th receivers. They're your 1 and 2 receivers, right? When Malik Neighbors comes back and when you draft somebody in the draft, Darius Slayton should be off the team. And, maybe he should be doing something else, being in PR. Maybe he'll join the front office. Who knows? Get him out of here. As for the Mosley comment about all options on the table, let's play this out. New coach comes in. They have the 1st overall pick. They love Mendoza. He's somewhat right where you can say that the regime wants to pick their guy. If they fire Joe Shane, or I hope say when they fire Joe Shane, right? There's no loyalties to any of the players that come in, right? So the new GM comes in and says, I don't fucking like Dart. I want Mendoza. Then right, that might be an option on the table. Do you and I want Dart gone? No. Do I think it would be stupid to kind of reset? I do. I think he's shown you enough where I think he's going to be a pretty good player. Get a guy in here, get him some mechanics fixed up. A coach in here that can actually do that. Because the funniest thing, I was ranting about Mike Kafka, but the team looks better with Brian Dable than they do with Mike Kafka. Dart looks better with Brian Dable than he does with Mike Kafka. All right, now I'm not saying I want to keep Brian Dable, but you can clearly see there's a drop-off on the entire operation being run, right? When Dable's in there, they're scoring 30-something points against the Denver defense. Kafka comes in here, and they look like they can't move the ball against the freaking Washington Commanders. So, to me, as the new GM coming in here, I don't think there's quote-unquote untouchable players. But if you come in here and a lot of the rumor is this is an attractive job because of Dart, this is an attractive job because of Dart, this is an attractive job because of Dart, then, and yeah, not better with Bone either. They have that autonomy to do that. Will it happen? No. If I'm a coach coming in here, I'd want to see what Dart has. The new GM, if the new GM, let's talk about some other players. The new GM wants to give up on Dexter Lawrence, I'm okay with it. If he wants to give up on Andrew Thomas, I'm okay with it. If he wants to draft another quarterback, I'm technically okay with it. But, I don't think that Dart has warranted that. I don't think he's been awful. Now, if Dart has been awful, and played, let's say like a Justin Fields or something like that, where you're like, all right, he's okay, but I'm not, I got the number 1 overall pick, and I like Mendoza, and I'm scouting him. I think he fits what we do on offense better. Then yes, I could see it happening. But at this moment, I don't think it will happen. Now, again, I'm giving I want the ownership group to give the new coach and GM, whoever that may be, autonomy of the roster. If somebody calls you and goes, I'm going to give you a first round pick for Dexter Lawrence, you do it. We don't have that many draft picks in this draft because we traded up for Dart. It would behoove the new management to acquire as many players and as many as much talent as they can, because a lot of guys are going to be coming off the books and they're going to need to retool. Like, there's no guarantee they're going to resign Rendon. Go guarantee that Illuminor is coming back, right? And there's nobody on the pipeline of the roster right now, even though Evan Neal's coming back. Do you really think he's going to be on this team next year? No. So the only guy that's in the pipeline that you are even curious about is Marcus Membo. I don't care about Josh Judu. If that guy never was in a Giant uniform ever again, I wouldn't care. So what am I saying? I'm saying there's a lot of depth that's got to be filled out. There's a lot of players that's going to have to be moved around. So this team may not be good next year just because of a roster purge. You have to let these coaches have the autonomy to do that.
Man, I'm with that. I hear you. I agree. I just think that I think anybody with a good football mind is going to feel like they could pretty much work with Jackson Dart based on what they've seen him put on film this season. I just don't think you're going to get too many coaches coming in here and being like, oh, no, I think I want my guy. I don't know. I just don't. That's just what I'm saying. I hear exactly what you're saying, and I agree with it. I'm not saying restrict your coaching selections. You're saying you got to be in love with Jackson Dart. No, you can't do that. No. You can't limit yourself in that way. But I just think that most good football minds would come in and be like, yeah, that kid's a player. You know what I mean? Look at the respect this kid already has in the league. Go back to the New England game. That was mostly about respect. If you think about the way they came and got after Jackson Dart's ass in that game, that's a respect thing in a sense. You know what I mean? Like they respected what they know that kid can do. And Mike Vrabel got his team prepared to go out there and take on and meet that challenge head on, and they did that. You know what I mean? So props to them for that. But Jackson Dart, to me, I think he's played good football, and I think it's almost like the Chicago thing last year with when that job became open. How Ben Johnson swooped in, man, and he wanted that job. He saw that quarterback there. He's like, he didn't have the greatest. He didn't even have a rookie season as good as what Jackson Dart is having, and yet Ben Johnson he knows what's there. He knew it was there. He said, yeah, I want to go in there. I want some of that. I think we're going to have a similar situation with coaching candidates where you're going to have guys that do want to come in and work with Jackson Dart. And I think that would be wise. I think that it would be wise, but for that to happen, because this roster, I think with him at quarterback, just look at it. Look at the way he's playing with the subpar pieces around him that he's been playing with. Could you only imagine if you get legitimate talent around this kid? Legitimate talent. I mean, Theo Johnson, you gotta love him, hate him. He's week to week. It's just you almost don't know what you're gonna get, but he's capable of making plays at the tight end position. I mean, like you said, if you can slot guys like Wandale and Darius Slayton where they truly should be, which is I agree, 3 and 4 type of guys, then that's where they'll have more success. Like I said, so I think there's just so much more to worry about with this roster and this team than coming in here and shaking up the quarterback situation yet again. And what has been it's been just a situation over the past several years. Obviously, something the Giants had not been able to get right, and look like they might have gotten it right now. And I think they'd be crazy to move off of that path. But like you said, I agree. You get a new regime in here, let those guys do what they feel is best. And give them the opportunity to build their team the way they want to build it. So you can't stand in the way of that either. So I do agree with that 1,000%. But I guess time will tell what's going to happen, because I got a feeling this whole regime come the final that when that clock hits 0 against the Cowboys in week 18, once that clock hits zero, I got a feeling these guys are not going to last very long after that. And by the next morning, house will be clean, completely clean, and as it needs to be, because we got to move on, and we got to get some guys in here, and we got to build this thing up. Off season is going to be critical this season for the New York Giants. So hopefully they can stand on business with Jackson Dart. I think that would be I think that's the right move. Personally, the guy has already proven what he can do to some extent, and obviously he can only get better. I think he has the work ethic to continue to get better. And I'd be pretty upset if we moved off of Jackson Dart after a really good rookie season, in which he may still end up being Offensive Rookie of the Year too. By the way, that's a possibility as well.
Well, he's having a solid year overall, right? No Mets, what's up? Who would you trade for him right now? If I'm not getting a Burrow, a Herbert, an Allen or a Mahomes or even a Jackson, then I don't really want anybody else. I like what the kid can do. I think he's elevated the team right now. He is a rookie, so I think the circumstance around him has been bad. The defense has been bad. The defense doesn't even play inspired anymore, right? I mean, they have games, and a game like this they should have probably been more competitive in, and they were. But you got guys like Abdul Carter who come through, right? But then the rest of the team doesn't, or the back end doesn't, or the linebackers suck. So I really think whoever they bring in, they got to reevaluate this defense and make the proper moves. I think what they need is more draft picks and smart free agent signings, right? Get a middle linebacker in here, get a couple depth pieces on the line, get some O-line help, right? Because, you're going to need to replace. But right now you need draft picks because you can only sign so many free agents, right, until the cap runs out. And you're better to have a pipeline of guys. And that's been the issue with the Giants is there's no pipeline, right? They have their starters and then everybody else, right? So, we could use an upgrade at running back. Definitely upgrade at receiver because we got nothing in the cupboard besides Malik Neighbors, right? The whole O-line, there's only a few pieces that are still drafted here. Andrew Thomas, thank God he's here, but you have Marcus Membo, and then that's about it in terms of depth. You don't know what Runyon is going to be. John Michael Schmitz, he's been up and down. So let's say you got three guys on the line who are young, who you still don't even know about. And you can even upgrade John Michael Schmitz if you want to, right? So there's options there. Illuminor, right tackle, we're definitely going to need to fill that place because James Hudson, who, by the way, I don't know why the fuck that guy's still on the roster, is, I don't think is good enough to be on this team. So I really can't wait till that game. Can't wait till we get through these next couple games because I want to see what happens Black Monday. I want to see who the coach is going to be. I want to see how their search is going to be conducted. And I want to see who the GM is going to be because those three things to me, not necessarily in that order, but like the process to me really matters. Who are they bringing in? Are they just bringing in one guy, Marcus Freeman, to just, suffice a Rooney Rule? Or are they going to really bring that guy in and say, you're a legit candidate? Are they going to bring in a guy, like a Halfley? Are we going to have to wait till February for our guy? Do you already got guys lined up, right? I don't necessarily need to drag deep into January, but what I need to happen is identify the guys you want, have a broad search, bring in everybody that is a hot candidate, not hot candidate. You want to interview McCarthy? Go ahead. Don't just make a choice because it's McCarthy. You want to do that, right? Make a choice because you believe in the guy and bring in a GM who's going to believe in that guy too. I think it's dumb come Black Monday if Joe Shane's got a job and he's leading the charge, and then let's say they suck next year and they fire Joe Shane. Now what are you going to go backwards? Now you're going to ask the coach's input for a GM he's may never worked with? Like, that's dumb. Bring in a guy like a Ray Agnew, right? He's on Detroit. You bring in Ray Agnew, and let's say Ray Agnew comes in and he wants a guy and he wants Mike Shula, or he wants Cliff Kingsbury. Let him choose his guy, and those guys work hand in hand like the 49ers do. The 49ers brought in John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan together, right? Every move is with them, and I just think it's a better formula than half-assing it, right? If you want to bring in a more experienced GM, unlike Ray Agnew, bring in a Thomas Dimitroff, right? A guy like that who then can go in, and if he wants – what I don't want to happen is I don't want a first-year GM and a first-year coach. I want one or the other to have experience when shit hits the fan. I can't go through the growing pains of a GM and a coach together. I just can't do it, right? Because we tried that. You can't have a guy come in here and have to grow and roll. I want a guy like a Dimitrov that right off the bat can identify this roster with a little condensed time that he has, come in and say, you know what, I'm going to make these things just bang, bang, boom, boom, boom. I don't need a guy coming in here that is going to not be able to, let's say, have a diverse interview process because let's say he comes from, I'll just use Ragnar. Let's say he comes from Detroit and you use whatever Detroit, I'm going to bring Calvin Shepard as the head coach. I don't want that to happen. I want unearth everything because this next hire could be the hire that we're talking about. Like, man, that was great. I'm so glad they got him, right? Because I don't know where they're going to go. I have a couple of candidates I like. Some guys have fallen off the radar. Kevin Stefanski, goodbye. Halfley I like because there's coaching experience in Boston College, but again, I'm a little leery of the Giants doing that because he's not a real. The only thing that saves him is the head coach, like a Mike Shula. Do I want that guy? Sure, in name and because he's from McVay's tree, but he doesn't have any head coaching experience. Do I want Spagnuolo? Not really. But would that be a guy that they would choose? Absolutely. Do I want Lou Adamorillo? Hell no. But he's older, and he's a guy that they might look to. Do I want McCarthy? No, but again, that's a name they've already have ties with. He would come in here, and he's a big fish, right? So it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, as I'm looking at these teams and look at the Giants situation right now, let's say the Giants do hang on to that number one overall draft pick. If they hypothetically sitting in that spot at number one, where I don't think the New York Giants are in great need of a quarterback. And you got Mendoza obviously out there and a couple other guys, couple other prospects. I'm looking at some of these teams down here, man. I'm like, you got the Raiders, who I think is going to be very much in play for a quarterback. I mean, possibly Cleveland once again. We don't know. I mean, they're not in love with Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Possibly, maybe could be in play for a quarterback. The Jets, another team, definitely needs to be in play for a quarterback. Then look now, I think more recently now with the news that just came out, maybe perhaps the Miami Dolphins want to get back in that quarterback market. The Arizona Cardinals also possibly. They don't seem to be feeling Kyler Murray much anymore out there in the desert, man. So it's some teams where possibly, man, you could package up some picks, man, and really, really build that draft capital and then really, truly build this football team up the way it's supposed to be right through the draft, man. I think there's a lot of options. There's going to be a lot of options for the New York Giants, especially if they can hold on to the number one overall draft pick, which I think will be in their best interest. I hate to go out there and tank, but at the same time, a win right now just does nothing for you, New York Giants. It does nothing for you, Giants. Nothing. Other than boost your ego a little bit. But other than it's nothing more than a win. Wins don't matter at this point. These next three games, it's about, to me, preserving the number one overall pick, because I think now it's a very valuable asset going to this off season, as well as bringing a new coach in here, man. So,
but the Giants are gonna fuck around and win a game and cost themselves. But I do agree. What you need to happen is this: Giant fans need Dante Moore to come out. Giant fans need the kid from Duke to come out. They're kind of on the fence, these two quarterbacks. If those two guys come out, it might help the Giants, not having to have the first pick. They'll be able to have a chance to move up and say, listen, we know that Arizona wants a quarterback, blah, 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 right? And the Jets, who may not be able to get Mendoza, now might be able to trade up to get this, and you can get your third round pick back and a first round pick. This is what I mean. The Giants can't go into next year. I don't care what happens in these next two games. I think to be honest with you, I think they're losing to Minnesota this week. I don't care what they do against the Raiders next week. And I think they're losing to Dallas the following week. So I don't think they're going to win more than 3 wins. So let's say they're top whatever team, right? If the Giants need to be able to acquire picks, trade down the draft, and actually rebuild. I don't want to hear about, we're going to compete and rebuild. No. Fucking reset the thing. Clean it out. Look through the roster. Give it a deep, deep dive. Build a foundation. Say, these are going to do what Parcells did. These are going to be my players. These are the guys that I'm sticking with. These are the guys I believe in. And build your core from there. I think we've half-assed it for too long. That's why I think they need to get rid of Joe Shane. because I can't do another Dave Gettleman, Joe Judge type of McAdoo type of whatever fucking situation. Cannot do it. I just can't. I need to be able to, the Giants have done that. Jerry Reese, McAdoo, fired. Dave Gettleman, Pat Shermer, fired, brought in Joe Judge. Joe Judge and Gettleman both fired. You bring in Jerry Reese, you bring in Joe Shane and Brian Dable. I don't need them to repeat that mistake. Bring the guys in. I'd rather have two guys go down with the ship in the same vein than two fucking idiots on different timelines. You name me a coach, name me a team that's worked for, where the guys come in late. Outside of like maybe a Harbaugh or some team like that, not many in the league produce like that, right? And so, again, I'm not trying to I hate to use this term model, but an example is the 49ers. They brought it in. If you look at the Bears got lucky with Ryan Proles, right? They got lucky because they got Ben Johnson and they fired Eberflus, right? So the Bears now Ryan Proles can stay because, look at him. He looks like a genius. Joe Shane has not done anything to warrant that. Just clean house. Don't let him get credit for something that he doesn't really deserve.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And speaking of these Giants, they do actually have a game, like you said, on Sunday afternoon. Definitely not Monday. On Sunday afternoon, these New York Giants do host the Minnesota Vikings, and it's just never usually a great matchup when they play the Minnesota Vikings. Other than that playoff game a few years ago, something about this team it's like kryptonite to the New York Giants. I mean, it was definitely Eli Manning's kryptonite. They just his worst games against the Minnesota Vikings. But even still, just in general, I feel like the New York Giants just always play shitty against this team most of the time. What you think they got a chance on Sunday?
I don't believe so. I can't pick them for them letting me down this week. I think Minnesota showed me last week that they're not going to lie down, that they're going to try to play out the string, and they have pride. The Giants have none of that. They're a clown show. They're a joke. They fire guys left and right. They're putting blame over here. I wouldn't be surprised if guys already have their fucking bags packed and ready to go, some of them. They're just playing out the string at this point, and you can feel it. That stadium on Sunday wasn't that packed. Nobody's coming to that game. All Viking fans will be there. But again, maybe the Giant defense steps up, let's say. But I don't believe they're doing anything against Minnesota's good line. I think Minnesota. I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, like a 30-1 game, but I can easily see the Vikings cruising to like a 28-14 victory. Kind of running down the field. Methodically marching down the field because we can't stop the run, and Aaron Jones is doing this, throwing short passes to Justin J.J. McCarthy. I mean, the Cowboys' passer is not necessarily better than the Giants, but they are solid, and they couldn't get a hit on McCarthy. I think this offensive line is better than the Commanders' line, which is pretty good, and the Commanders had like 4-point-something yards of carry on the rush. And that's what I worry about. Like, can this defense stop anybody? They have proven to me no. So I can't, a team that Minnesota that scored 30 points back-to-back weeks against, they shut out a team that just beat us. All right, they shut out Washington. Okay, now they're coming in to play us. I think they're going to put the clamps down. If you want to bet on a concussion game and medical tent, this is a game that you're going to see Jackson Dart in the medical tent. I know it. He may not get a concussion, but he's going to get hit in this game because this Viking defense is legit.
Look, if ever there was going to be a get right game for one Mr. Justin Jefferson, this is definitely the week. This is definitely the week for it. I just don't see the Giants stopping the combination of Addison and Jefferson in this one. And I think they're both going to have huge games, to be quite frank. Because like you just said, Adam, you said it best. This defense done already completely packed it in, man. I mean, this defense is not playing anymore. They're not even. I don't feel like they're even making any real effort on the field at all at this point when I watch this team on Sundays now, man. Because for what it's worth, the offense is still scoring enough points to pretty much kind of maybe win football games. And the defense, if they could just stop anything, just once in a while, then, who knows? But They're not doing shit.
Technically, they did the game, right? They had those 2 turnovers with Mariota, and I don't think Minnesota's going to be that careless, right?
Well, no, but those turnovers, I get it. They that magic happened late in the game, but I mean, at this game, the Giants as a whole team at that point had already pretty much. They were just checked out, man. Those turnovers were just kind of fluky things that happened. I'm still not even chalking them up as necessarily, oh, the Giants are just still flying around and making great plays. The shit just happened. You know what I mean? Like, and look, Abdul Carter, you find like a number 3 overall pick. Yeah, thank you. It was week 15. And you took you that long to look like a number 1 like the third number 3 overall pick. Took that long into the season for you to get there. You got 2.5 sacks on the season. Woo! Could you imagine that kid had 56 on his back right now and with 2.5 sacks? Woo!
You know,
oh God.
LT had 9.5 in his rookie year, and they weren't even counting sacks.
They didn't even count. Yeah, they didn't even count.
But so, you know, and LT sleep in meetings actually produce. So if you're going to sleep in meetings and produce, you know, make sure you do it. But you know,
like I've been saying, there's no way I'm opening my mouth and picking the New York Giants to win a football game because they don't deserve to be picked to win a football game because they are terrible.
Well,
and I will not do it. What'd you say, Adam?
I might pick them one more time, but it depends on how this game goes. I can't trust them. There's nothing I can trust with the Giants. I can't say, hey, they're a good run team. I can say, hey, you know, like the defense gave up 29 points to the team that could score 0 against Minnesota.
I can't. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass, really. You don't know what you're going to get out the run game week to week. I mean, Tracy did have a solid game. He had a solid game on Sunday, but you don't know what you're going to get out the run game from the Giants week to week. Jackson Dart, his running has slowed down a lot because teams are now playing him a lot differently and getting a lot more physical with him as well. So, you know, you just don't have enough, man. And you got people like Darius Slayton that you can almost guarantee is going to break your heart and dropping a damn touchdown pass when he's in the end zone wide open. I mean, that's just the shit that this New York Giants team is made up of, man. Like Theo Johnson, he'll drop all the easy ones too and then go up there and make all those big 50-50, catch all them big 50-50 balls. I can't understand this football team. Like, I can't figure them out in any way, and I'm not picking them to win a football game because they suck. And I'm done with them. They're professional losers, and I'm standing on that. That's what I'm standing on. No one knows how to lose the way they know how to lose each and every week, no matter who they're playing against. The crazy part is they got 2 wins on the season, and they're against 2 teams that are probably going to be in the postseason. That's ridiculous. That's what their 2 wins are against.
And, honestly, Matt, that's what gave you some hope that this next season could have been good. But right now, I've never seen them fire a coach, right, like this in the middle of the year, but it's even worse with Kafka. Like, there's no accountability. There's just not, like, I don't believe in that guy. Like, there's just nothing. The only thing, I don't want to take Dart off the field, but if you told me tomorrow, hey, we're going to sit Dart for Russell Wilson or whatever, I'd be like, the tank is in. And you know what? You know why I hate this too, Mac, before we move on real quick? Is that the fact that we don't have a coaching staff is not allowing us to sit players that we want to, right? If you look at Kansas City, they're sitting everybody. They don't give a shit. They're like, whatever, we're going to go evaluate players. Other teams are evaluating players. But when you have a guy fighting for his job, he's not looking to see, oh, let me see Marcus Membo at guard or whatever, or let me see this DB here. No, he's all hands on deck because I'm trying to win games and look good, and it's doing us a detriment because we don't get to see the young guys who need the experience, right? We see a bunch of losers who are like Bobby Okereke of the world who should be sat down because they some of it's because of injury, you have no choice. But some of it's like when I watched Coughlin, there were years where I was like, oh, we played young guys at the end of the year because we knew he was coming back, right? So we could play some young guys at the end of the year, and we're able to do that. You know, take the last preseason game and sure, we wanted to finish on a high note, but if things got out of hand, yeah, we're gonna go throw this kid in, throw that kid in. Because of the uncertainty, we don't get that luxury. We don't get to see those young guys play. I would love to see Cam Scatterbo right now, but unfortunately he's injured, right? But we have nobody behind him to check out, right? Devin Singletary's not going to be in this team next year, but where's the running back to help out? And like the Eric Grays of the world, we don't have those guys. Turbo Miller, why is he not being called up? Evan Neal is coming off IR. You think that guy's going to play the next 3 weeks? Give me a fucking break. But no, we're going to fucking trot him out there, the same lineup, no shakeups, and that's what's really frustrating.
Well, you just brought that all up. I would. I mean, would it kill us to get a Thomas Fidone sighting? I mean, the guy just gets a uniform on Sunday to sit there just to hang out on the sideline. Apparently, we're fucking 2-12.
Right.
We're 2-12. Would it kill us to see if this guy can maybe be a legit target in the red zone? Right. At least I get it that he doesn't have a lot of mobility athletically with the bad wheels, from all the surgeries and shit when he was in college. But damn it, he's a big body, strong kid. Maybe in the red zone he can still body somebody when you're down there and be a guy you can rely on in those situations. But we'll never know because he gets no opportunities. Look, let's move on because I'm tired of this fucking team pissing me off, and I'm fucking tired of them. I'm tired of all the buffoonery, all the stupid shit they do. What else we got? The Eagles and Washington are playing. Yeah, the Eagles and Washington. I think this one's in Washington. Yeah, this one's in Washington. Who you got, Adam?
I think the Eagles are going to win, but this is another game where I feel they have to dominate. You got an injured quarterback. You got a defense that's susceptible to big plays and things like that. You don't want to let them come in and ruin your season, which Dan Quinn is going to try to play that and portray that and say, come in, let's give these guys. And you don't know. They might be motivated. They might just be motivated enough to upset you, right? Don't let it happen. Don't let Marcus Mariota-led Commanders beat you. If they do, that could derail everything, right? If this game to me is like the Raiders. I need them to put belt to ass. Make this not a contest by the end of the third quarter. Break the will of Washington, like what Minnesota did. Minnesota broke their will. They knew everything. They anticipated. Boom. That's what you got to do. If you want me to believe that you've got off the schneid, get your 10th win and make it a laugher. Because the game again, and don't overlook Washington for the Bills game. This is where again, what are they doing? What are they looking at? Are they looking at the Bills because that could be a Super Bowl matchup? Right, and they overlook Washington. They need this game. They need to make sure that they win this game, not for seeding because I don't think they're getting the number one seed, but just for me to believe that they squeak by this game. I'm not going to chalk it up to division. I'm going to be like, yo, you may not be the team that you think you are. So prove it to me on Sunday.
Yeah. I agree again. Once again, I'm with you right there. I think they need to go out there and make a statement against an inferior opponent. I mean, it's a divisional matchup, so that does put a little bit something extra to it. But at the same time, let's face it, these two teams they're on different wave spectrums, man. Right now, there's no way that the Eagles should be losing this game, especially at this point in the season where things are so critical. I mean, yeah, you're right. They're not. I mean, they mathematically could still get number one seed mathematically if the Rams and the Bears, everybody else just fell the fuck off completely. You know what I mean? Seattle, if these teams just fell off completely, yes. But what's the chances of that all happening? So number one seed is probably they can forget about that. They can move up to number two possibly though and secure that, and at the very least, and still maybe increase their chances of potentially playing a slightly lesser opponent in that first round playoff game. I think they need to go out there and really take care of business against these Washington Commanders, a team that is completely beat up, a team that has officially shut Jaden Daniels down for the rest of the season. So they did announce that officially that he's done for the year. And I mean, you just got to go out there and handle business, man. Like Washington is a team that, yes, they took care of the lowly Giants on Sunday, but this is not a good football team at all. And the Eagles got to prove that they're worthy of the spot they're in right now, man. Because to be honest, it's more so by default of just how bad this division is. To be quite frank, they have not really played up up to the level of what you wanted to see from the defending Super Bowl champions, man. Maybe we can all be wrong and they can get hot at the right time. Be one of those situations where they get hot at the right time, going into the playoffs, and then they go out there and go on that roll again and defend their title. But it's just not looking good, and I want to see them continue to prove themselves, man, and see if they can truly go out there and take advantage of like I said, an inferior Washington Commander football team. I mean, maybe not necessarily to shut them out like Oakland, like they did the Raiders, but at the end of the day, go out there and handle your business, and it shouldn't even be close. Honestly, it needs to be a lopsided affair. I feel like to really have that respect going into that following week against Buffalo, like you said, to overlook Washington this week would be a mistake for the Philadelphia Eagles. So just hope that Sirianni has his team dialed in. They're not looking towards Buffalo the following week, and they got their eyes focused on Washington Commanders. What is going on, AK in the building? Eagles Uncensored, man. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Happy holidays to you and yours. Alex, Big Blue in the Bronx, man. Always a pleasure, man. Hope everything is going well for you with the holidays, man. Happy holidays to you, my brother. Always good to see you. But yeah, I'm definitely going with the Eagles here. I just don't see the Commanders having it in them, man. They played a good game and took out the Giants on Sunday. I don't see that 2 weeks in a row from the Commanders. I just don't see that kind of fight in that team, man. I truly believe they are a defeated football team as well. And what we saw on Sunday against the Giants is not going to repeat itself against the Philadelphia Eagles. Is that game Saturday? As a matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But
yes.
Yeah, against the Eagles on Saturday. So I like the Eagles here for sure. Which leaves us the Dallas Cowboys against the Los Angeles Superchargers. And yeah, this is a big game for both teams, honestly. I mean, the Chargers still kind of, in the mix. They're not completely out of the AFC West race. If the Denver Broncos can fumble a little bit these last couple of weeks. So they got a chance to still catch the Broncos mathematically. And this is a big week, a big win now. A game they can't afford to drop. But the Cowboys also mathematically can catch the Eagles as well. So they need to keep pace, need to win here. How do you see this one playing out? This game is in Dallas, I believe.
The Dallas Cowboys are going to choke again. I just think, Minnesota came in. They didn't lay a finger on J.D. McCarthy. While Herbert is injured, he's better than J.D. McCarthy. And I just think that, they still have a chance to play. And big picture, Chargers need a game like this. They need to get to a place where they know that they're not out of the division race still yet, right? Because eventually they're going to need to sit Justin Herbert. This is not the game to do it. I think this will be the last game, if they win this, that Herbert might play, depending on how it goes. Maybe he plays one more, but you might want to give him that rest. I think they're going to kick the Dallas Cowboys' ass. I think they're going to make them look bad defensively. I think this is good. Dak Prescott's going to have a solid game against the Chargers, but I just think you're going to see another, team that can't stop the run, get to the passer, and be a 2-score loss. I think it's going to be like a 42-30, loss by the Cowboys. They have not proved. I can't pick them like the Giants. Every time I pick them, they let me down. So I'm not picking them anytime except when they play the Giants, because I have no choice, because the Giants are horrible. So no, I'm not picking the Cowboys.
Oh well, I'm not so sure. This may not be the last game we see Justin Herbert, because I'm looking at their schedule, brother, and week 18 could be a showdown game, and it could be for all the marbles. You know what I mean? Possibly, it could be for all the marbles, depending if the Broncos, like I said, if the Broncos trip up over the next couple of weeks. They got a tough Jaguars team. They got the Chiefs, which they ain't looking very tough no more, but. That it can come down to that last game, man. Chargers and Broncos week 18 could be a big time showdown game in the AFC West. So
I know there's not premium takes. This is NFC East.
I know. I went there. I didn't, but
But let's say
I thought it was better.
The Jaguars do beat Denver, all right? and they need a big statement win as well, right? Their team trying to find themselves after having a horrible year. They're leading now the AFC South. This is a big game for them. If they somehow find a way, you're right. Maybe that's so. Anyways, you're making my point for me. Is that the Chargers know what's at stake, unlike the Cowboys. The Cowboys don't know what's at stake. Otherwise, they would be in the playoff hunt. They're not. They don't know what's at stake. I think the Chargers, because of what you're saying and having potentially a chance to have that game mean something at the end of the year, are going to handle their business. And that's because the Cowboys, I just don't know where they are. Every time I think they're going to beat a good team, they let me down.
And also, by the way, in the event that the Chargers and Broncos finish with the exact same record, the Chargers will own the tiebreaker. Will probably most likely own the tiebreaker, most likely, if they finish with the same record, if the Chargers can win that last game or something like that. If that was what it would come down to, the Chargers would own the tiebreaker in that situation, as they beat them earlier in this season, beat the Broncos earlier. But back to the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, Chargers. Yeah, I'm like you just said, man. Dallas Cowboys, they at this point, it's too little, too late anyway. I believe, like I said, from a realistic standpoint, and I just don't trust them. Don't trust them. I mean, I don't have the disdain for him like a Stephen A. Smith. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just don't trust this football team to go out there and do what they need to do on Sunday against the Chargers. Now, Chargers, like you said, Chargers have so much to like. They both, like I said, got a lot to play for, but the Chargers literally have a true legitimate chance to win their division. I think it's an even more stronger chance than the Dallas Cowboys, even though the Broncos are playing really good football. I think the Chargers I think they're going to come out. I think we're going to get a big game from Omarion Hampton, who has been back in the lineup for the last couple of games for the Chargers. I think we're going to get a big performance, get a big day out of him. I think the Cowboys defense is absolute just doo-doo. And I think we're going to see something similar to what we saw on Sunday night. It's just the Cowboys' way of doing things right now, how the Cowboys do things. So I just can't ride with the Cowboys. I just have, like I said, I can't trust them. As you see, we don't have any of those weird random Cowboy fans in the chat this week because they know they have nothing to talk about. And that's just what it is, man. I like the Chargers here. I don't necessarily know. I think it could be a pretty close game, but like that's how the Cowboys kind of lose. Like you said, it's not that they can't score the points themselves; that they just can't stop the teams from scoring either. And it's just been a problem all season for this Cowboy football team, and I think it'll continue this week. And I think this will be the Eagles have an opportunity to put that final nail in the coffin. When it's all said and done, the Eagles take care of their business. Cowboys lose. I think that'll pretty much seal the deal. But we'll see. Any final thoughts before we get ready to wrap it up, Adam?
No, I'm all set. There's nothing more to talk about. I'm just as a Giant fan. 3 more games, 3 more Sundays, and we're good to go. 3 more Sundays, and hopefully there'll be a turnaround or something. But luckily for us, we still have one team that will definitely be in the playoffs. And that means this show will continue on at least past the 5th of January.
Yeah, at least we'll have a game. At least have a wild card week show. At least, at the very least.
And next week is
do something for Super Bowl just for the hell of it, probably. But
next week I'm not sure when our show will be, because it is the
20th. We may not have a show at all next week at all. To be honest, I don't know if we can fit something in, figure something out.
Yes,
definitely not. It's definitely not going to be on Wednesday. That's for sure. If we do anything, it ain't going to be on Wednesday.
The 31st, though, we can squeeze in an hour before we watch the ball drop. Nothing, nothing crazy there. Or an hour and a half. So we'll be back. If we're not with you on the 24th or sometime next week, look for us the night before the new year. We're gonna ring in the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026 with some of our thoughts. Obviously, we will be heading into the last game of the year. Thank God. We will be heading into more rumors and news at that point and getting a more clear indication of who's going to be fired. So Mac and I will probably preview and put a bow on the season and kind of give our off-season thoughts on some of these teams that will be going into the off-season that weekend. So that's on the itinerary for the next couple weeks. If we don't see you before next week, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you all.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well said, Adam. It's like Adam said, man. Like, definitely not gonna say we're not gonna be here next Wednesday for our Christmas Eve show. That's just not gonna happen. Christmas Eve is family. Is we've got better things to do than talk about the lowly New York Giants and the rest of this sorry ass division. To be quite frank, on Christmas Eve, we want to keep our spirits high. I'm gonna go work and make some money, and that's just what it is, man. And but we do appreciate you guys joining us once again this week for another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Make sure you go to my channel, hit that like for the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go to Adam's channel, hit the like on the stream over there as well, and subscribe to his channel as well. And the Hardcore Sports Network, you can do the same thing. We are broadcasting on all those platforms on YouTube and a couple of platforms on the Facebook as well, man. On my channel at MacDaGiantsFan on Facebook and at Hardcore Sports Network Facebook page as well. So go support all of those platforms, man, and continue to help us all grow. Really appreciate it. And like Adam said, make sure y'all have a great holiday and be safe and make smart decisions, man. Enjoy the time with y'all family, man. Might be able to get something in for y'all next week. We'll have to figure it out over the next couple of days. We had to talk about it and try to figure something out, see if we can work something out. But definitely not going to be a show next Wednesday. That's for sure. We know that much for sure.
Yeah.
So, we'll check y'all out. Hopefully, we'll see y'all. If not, if we don't see y'all next week, we'll see y'all. We'll bring the new year in with y'all, man. I'm Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas.
I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.